So I think I found the problem. I removed the number 2 ignition coil for that intermittent misfire. You can see there's a crack here. Here line crack that's running all across. You don't see it over here, but you can see there's a crack here all across. That's the cause of the intermittent misfire. So we're going to be replacing the ignition coils. These two are new. I think we're going to be replacing these two. Now, at the time when I was doing the diagnostics for the intermittent misfire, I did not see this the hairline crack that's on the number 2 ignition coil. It may have gotten worse with time, and so now I was just doing my due diligence when I was doing other work on this. I just replaced the water pump and just going to bleed the cooling system. So, and yes, this is an aftermarket part because at the time it was an emergency and I needed to get the vehicle back on the road as soon as possible. So that's why I've been using the aftermarket parts here. These are the BWD standard motor aftermarket parts. Sometimes they can be a hit and miss, but uh, otherwise they work okay. But I recommend the OEM Denso coils if you're able to get your hands on those. If you're in a pinch and you really need the vehicle to be back on the road, then aftermarket is your last choice. So I just wanted to give a word of advice to you guys. It's just that that sometimes cars can kick our butts really hard. So you always got to make sure to keep things as simple as possible. And it does happen to every technician out there every once in a while. It's always best to stick with the basics because the basics always wins. Now this ignition coil at the time when that intermittent misfire happened and there were no stored trouble codes, I don't think that crack was there. And so that now that issue has gotten worse, but still there's no codes or anything. Now I was just doing my due diligence just to have a visual inspection on the coils, and I found I and luckily I happened to find a crack there. So that's the source of the misfire because the electricity takes the shortest path, and so because there's a crack there, there will be a misfire every once in a while, and it would usually happen more at idle than when driving it normally. So the customer has approved to do the number 2 ignition coil, and then we're going to see and do a follow-up and just go from there. And I'm pretty confident that that should be able to fix our intermittent misfire problem. Now, I do know that no technician in the automotive industry can be 100% all the time. You'll probably be 98 or 99% accurate in most cases. Intermittent problems will be trickier than problems that are there and you have information. So you have to watch out. Uh, Vehicles, cars, they kick my butt sometimes. I just have to fight back, and then that's it. I just one issue that one advice that I can give to you guys is to never give up and don't throw parts at it. That's it. Just either wait for it to get worse or keep doing your due diligence and research and try to figure out And what the issue is, a lot of times you'll be able to get by doing a visual inspection on a variety of car parts. You, if you're lucky, you may be able to see signs of issues or problems. We're just going to quickly install a new coil by this is by standard motor, BWD. It's the same company. So this is the new coil. So I'm just going to install that new coil. You don't see any cracks that runs through here. This is just the casting of the plastic here. I'm just going to be using a little bit of the super lube, the dielectric grease, and put a tiny bit on the ignition coil boot, so that you have good contact, and so that the coils don't seize onto the spark plug. We're just going to install this now. Install the bolt. Install the connector. Just going to tighten this up snug. You don't need to crank it up too much. Just a tiny bit. I had this one out as well for comparison. So I just need to tighten up the number one coil here. So the number 3 and 4 has been recently replaced. We're just doing the number 2 today. This one is this has been replaced, I think, back in 2019, roughly 4 years ago. It's still working. We're just doing the number 2 coil, and then that's it. And then there is not much else I can show you guys, because the misfire is intermittent. I can probably follow up with you guys in the comments and or in the description, and I will let you guys know probably after a week or so, and then that's about it.